It's March 4th, 2023, and welcome to episode 77 of the Baby Metal Podcast. We gather in the podcast Discord server now and again to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of Baby Metal. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I'm Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
Hello, I'm Paul. I'm Kevin.
And Maggie.
Howdy, Kevin. I'm Maggie.
All right, off to a brilliant start. So it's been a month. You might recall that last month, I don't know, what we got Metal Kingdom last time, and we talked a bit about that.
Yes.
We have now made it through February, and we have gotten the next new single. So maybe we can start with talking about that. Although there's a bunch of stuff that's happened. It's you can tell that we're kind of in the ramp up to a release.
Things are happening.
Heck yeah!
Yep.
I'm excited. So anyway, like Paul was saying, we did get a new release, and it is called Light and Darkness. And for those playing the Baby Metal game, you are aware that they played this for the first time at their prior show. And that was the first time we actually got to hear it. So it's pretty awesome. And I will tell you that song does not disappoint. I like it a lot. It is really, really good.
Excellent.
I recommend listening to it if you have not yet, which, to each your own. But yeah, it's very, I don't know. I feel like it has a little bit of a drum and bass DDR kind of sound to it myself. And it's really catchy. It's really good. And I think it's probably on the top of the list of releases so far. So there's my 2 cents.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm. It definitely has a different sound, but it does. I think you're right that it continues with there's quite a bit of electronicness in there.
Yes, very, very much so, which does not bother me any.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a different style. I gave it a few listens before as with all the other ones, it took a few before I was really sort of confident in it. But it stuck in my head pretty well. I mean,
yes.
Even after I'd heard it, as I was not listening to it, I was still somehow listening to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been pretty well stuck in my head for the last few weeks, even at work.
And we got a MV out of it as well. Actually, I guess they didn't call it an MV; they just called it official. But at any rate, it is more live footage from that show. So I don't know, Kevin, what did you think? You've sort of lived with this song longer, I suppose, but
I have lived with it a little bit longer. It's definitely better live. I've seen a lot of criticism of it not being metal, not being baby metal, not being period. I don't know. I disagree with all that.
Yeah.
On the basis that they can do whatever the heck they want, and that's what makes the group the group.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
If that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense.
And I think, we still don't have the context of the album. And I think it's also important to remember this isn't the 4th album. This is the in-between album.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So my expectations are completely different, as this isn't the direct follow-up to Metal Galaxy, right? This is the, let's throw out, we had these ideas for years. Let's throw out some stuff and see what we like and what's fun to record and
what sticks,
what works and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And it is sort of, exploring sort of dark, somewhat, I don't know, deeper, darker, ideas. Deeper mainly more than darker. But I mean, this one in particular is kind of, talking about whatever interplay of light and darkness and sort of depression and coming out of it and that sort of thing. So
they were even talking about, albeit I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but there was a article that had come out in a Japanese magazine, and I cannot remember which one it was, but we'll talk about it later with bringing up the title of it. But they did mention that this is probably more of on the darker side of their normal MO. It's a little bit on the darker side than they're used to, so they were kind of struggling with, how to present that and stuff. So but I think we've pretty well taken that away from this so far. It's very, I don't want to say brooding. So it's not really brooding per se, but it's very dark baby metal, which is interesting.
I sort of I guess I sort of think of it as not so much dark as contemplative or philosophical or something.
Okay.
It's deep rather than dark, but it
Okay.
includes everything. I don't know.
No,
Maybe
no, that makes better sense actually.
because it is still the message of it and overall is kind of positive, but
True.
coming out of the confusion,
Right.
supported by whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. So I'm looking at the MV going by as we're talking about this, and one thing that I did notice about it is they're all quite serious. They're all it's an interesting look. They're all kind of like doing the thing. And I think that's part of that's part of the intent. It's not that they've lost track of how to have fun. I think that this particular song warrants that attitude, but there's a particular sort of move in the middle that you can see, like Moa and Momoka doing. They're doing this strange sort of like hip shake thing, but with a super serious look. It's sort of like here's the place where we do this thing, and it's super effective.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're saying they used hip
weird
shake and it was super effective?
I don't think it's weird looking.
It's specifically the expression that goes along with it. It's like, all right,
Well,
now we're doing the thing.
I guess so. Yeah.
I'm definitely glad that we got this with the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helped this a lot, even if it is the studio audio over it.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta buy that Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I feel like live would definitely, like, I agree with Kevin, live is definitely going to make it even a little bit better. Just the loud bass in behind it. I would think of it, it'll expand it a little bit more. I don't know.
I saw there was something sort of like a reaction, something sort of like an analysis by Decodec of the so basically somehow with whatever sort of machine he uses to do that, he split out the tracks so that you could sort of hear things isolated, and that actually was quite interesting. Like hearing just the drums, just the backing vocals, and the effects that were on them and stuff. I'm amazed that it's possible to pull that apart that well, but it was pretty effective, and I think doing that really leads to a deeper appreciation of the music. Some of that stuff can get buried under, like you're paying attention to other stuff, and I normally don't hear it, but like these others, it's well constructed.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, like I said, I think it's in my top, maybe not baby metal songs of all time, but definitely up there as far as the album is concerned so far. So
No, that's interesting.
The lyrics, by the way, are in the video. So as before under the first comment, they're all in Japanese. So you would either have to look at a translation of it or run it through DeepL or something. But we do at least have access to those. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting to look at them while you're like to sort of read along with them while you're watching the choreography, because it does the choreography fits well as usual. There's a lot of as doors in the lyrics are being opened, they are gesturing opening doors, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
As you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I've always been kind of like I've felt differently about the choreography as of late, but maybe part of it is because I don't read into the lyrics as much as I should, because I know that's like Mikiko. I know that's kind of her thing, is that she does more, not necessarily with rhythms, but she does more with what's the lyrics, bases it on that more than anything. So maybe I need to read into that a bit more.
Yeah, well, again, I sort of felt like I gained appreciation by looking at them together. Like I had seen the thing and I'd read the things, but it's interesting to put them together and see what they're doing.
Fair enough.
What the inspiration was. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't really have that much more to say. But Kevin, what you said reminded me that it might be worth mentioning that you were on with AJ Hartley and Funny Toss talking about, what were you talking about? I mean, basically the show, right? And
Basically the show. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't gone to see that, go see that. You can finish listening to this first, but then go there.
Absolutely.
Or save it for the morning for some of you late birds.
Yep. That's exciting. We have one more left, I guess, that should be released before the actual the Fox Day and shows and album release and stuff. I assume they're going to release it before the album.
So here in the next couple weeks, I think. Yeah, because I think they were supposed to do 5, right?
Yeah, they were supposed to do 5, and one was going to be in March. But it occurs to me that the album will be out before March is over. So it's going to be...
Right, so basically here in the next 2 weeks, we'll be getting a new song.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
So soon. Right around the time this goes live.
Most likely.
No doubt.
That's how it works here. We release something, and then, of course, something new happens.
Yep.
We're the bringers of good news.
We cause it to happen. Somewhere between when we record and when it comes out, something new happens.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess we know The Legend is the song that we in the general sense have heard before. That was played at the show and has not been released. And so if they follow the pattern so far, they would release that one as the next whatever it is, single,
plausible,
new song.
Yes.
It's plausible. Having kind of heard it from the show, I don't think it wouldn't be my choice.
No.
It doesn't. I feel like it doesn't really stand alone very much. It really does feel like this is the end of a show, kind of a song, and not a thing that you want to come up on your shuffle.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So I don't know. What that means is I don't know what to predict. But I think if I were running the thing, I would pick something other than that to be new song number 5.
I hate the way you phrase that.
I guess basically something that would build the hype just a little bit, in advance of the album coming out.
Something with a little bit more energy.
Well, to be fair, we are assuming
True.
there's nothing stopping them from releasing something completely different.
True.
Yep. And there are definitely a couple of things on there that we believe are more energetic.
Yes.
Right? Like Metalism and
Yes.
some others. So, speaking of that, maybe I could turn to the next thing that I have written down here, which is that they have started driving trucks around Japan. You guys seen these?
Yeah.
I have seen these.
They've
advertising
done them
trucks.
before for other short. Yeah, they've done them for other shows too, where basically they're blasting baby metal music out, and the trucks has like an advertisement of. The one that comes to mind from before this current one is the one for this is a long time ago, but Metal Resistance, because they had, I think it had the limited edition picture on the truck, if I'm not mistaken. It's been so long, but that's the one I kind of remember most of all. But I know they've done it for other stuff too.
They definitely did it for Tokyo Dome.
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind for me is Tokyo Dome.
Was it Tokyo? Okay, fair enough.
But they probably did it for Metal Resistance too. That's just not the one that immediately sprung to mind.
Fair enough. But yeah, basically it has a wraparound, and it's the one that we've seen advertised for the new show, which is the 2 girls in the coffin with the 3rd coffin in the background with the bright red. It has that, and then they're basically looping through that one audio where it flips through each of the 10 songs, like the short snippets. They're playing that along with
like
the track.
a little preview.
Yeah, the preview.
Yeah, although it's more than that though. There's stuff that wasn't in the preview that the truck played. So
wait, really?
Yeah, so people have been like chasing around to like trying to catch it at a stop and record bits of it.
I didn't realize that. I thought they just played that. I just thought they played the 10 song preview. Oh, weird. Okay.
It's still, as far as I can tell, it's not like they're playing the entire album. But there's stuff that the trucks have played that we hadn't heard before.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
So that's interesting. Always seemed like such a wasteful thing. I mean, like I'd be pretty annoyed if like the traffic's all backed up, and you're trying to get somewhere, and the reason you can't get somewhere is because the roads are clogged with advertising trucks.
Yeah.
Doing nothing but just advertising. But
fair enough.
Anyway, it's still fun though.
They're not the only ones doing it. Let me tell you, those trucks are super common.
Oh, really?
Right. Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. They're everywhere.
I mean, I would assume so if they're doing something like that. Okay. I just don't recall when I've been over to Japan. I don't think I ever saw one. Or if I did, it just came out left ear, right ear. I don't know, but.
So let's see. Yeah, there's a few things that are have been announced as well. There's in the UK, Rough Trade is having a album listening event a couple of days ahead of the release. So on March 22nd, if you're in the UK, you can go get tickets to that to go sit in a room with people and listen to the album ahead of time.
Which is cool, I think. I think that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a little jealous of that, actually.
Yeah. I'm just kind of sitting here waiting, like maybe they'll announce something over here, but I don't see that happening, honestly. Who knows?
It does seem like it's a fairly low cost thing to do. I mean, like it's not even like simultaneously streaming concerts in a theater or anything like that. You know, just you need some speakers and a room.
Pretty much.
You know,
Exactly.
That's not really a thing in the States. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
No, I don't think I have
Is that
either.
a thing in Europe? Europeans in chat? Is that a thing?
I think Rough Trade does this with some regularity, but I don't know if that's a thing beyond them.
I see.
So
Not a thing in Europe either. Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
I mean,
And I also wonder.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, if they were to do it in the U.S., I wonder where. I could imagine either they do it in like 100 places, or they do it someplace I can't get to. You know, I mean, it might be like New York and L.A.
Exactly. And it's like, there's really not any big, like, huge record stores. There's a lot of, like, indie ones, which brings up another point. They are releasing another vinyl, but this time it's a white. Is it white? I think it's a straight white vinyl.
Yeah, it is.
That they're only releasing at indie stores, which is kind of cool. But
I forgot all about that. I forgot to put that in the notes.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a record store day thing again.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, and the closest one to me is like 20 miles away, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
Well, it's not too bad.
It's not really, it's really not, but it's, still.
Goes to a concert in Japan. Can't go 20 miles.
I was just thinking that.
Yes, fair enough. No. Really, 20 miles really isn't a big thing for me. Like I've traveled hours and hundreds of miles, so it's not a big deal. But it would be nice if the store was a little closer. I could go there more often, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But either way, the only like place I could think of right off the top of my head would be like FYE, but I don't think FYE really does anything like that I'm aware of off the top, that I know of. But
I'm not even sure what that is.
FYE for your entertainment?
They're the ones who sold the lunchbox.
Yeah, they're the ones who had the
The
lunchbox.
Metal
right.
Galaxy lunchbox.
Yeah,
I do recall the lunchbox.
because I don't know of any other like large places, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a link to that. Because so when you go to the link, which I did find, it will give a list of like, it'll ask you, to reveal your location to it, and then it will give you a bunch of places that are sort of within some amount of distance. So I've got ones that are like between 12 and 40 miles away. But there are a couple in there that allow you to pre-order them. So if you go through there, you can. They don't. I don't think they guarantee it, but basically you can pre-order them, and they will try to get them, and if they get them, they will ship it to you. So, which is probably almost as good a guarantee as anything, because you never know for sure which store is going to have it. You kind of have to call ahead.
Exactly.
So,
I think they, if I remember correctly, because I did go to a record store for something. I can't remember which release it was.
Distortion, probably. I remember that one being a record store day one.
Yeah, it might have been
sounds
that
right.
one, because they had to, I think they have to like kind of pre-plan like what will actually sell, but they have the opportunity to get something if they feel like it will sell, I think. Put it in order for their store, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to get the closest store that I have a call and see if I can get it, because I wasn't planning on getting the vinyl, but now that this is going on, I'm like, maybe this is supporting a local store.
Yeah,
I do appreciate that.
It is, and they've been pretty good about that. I mean, I think they've had, this is maybe the third record store day they've participated in. They did Distortion, and they did one before. I think the red vinyl from, I think the red vinyl from the first album was a record store day one.
I think so.
That sounds right.
So I do remember going to I actually, stood out in line in the cold to, outside a record store to get Distortion. And there were, I think they had 3 and I got one of them.
Nice.
Be more curious if they actually sold all 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be, I got there early because, that's the culture of this fan base. Right?
True. Exactly.
Yep. So I would have felt bad buying more than just the one, just in case there was somebody further back in line that wanted it.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Who knows how many there will be, but and I certainly have not gone in on collecting all the different color vinyls. That's a tall order for this one.
That's way too many.
There's now I think like 15 at this point. I think.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. It's like even there's one collector, like heavy duty collector that I know, and I know Kevin knows him too, but he's even like, yeah, I'm out. There's no way I'm doing it.
Yeah, way too many.
Yeah, there's just way too many.
I have a bunch, but what is there? There's the gold, silver, and bronze. There's the black and white. There's the white one they just announced. Mm-hmm. The bronze one they keep. They seem to have reissued in some sense. Like you can still buy them somehow. There's a clear one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. SD Metal in the chat says there were picture discs also that were record store day items.
Yeah, but I thought that was specifically for Japan though.
Maybe. The record store day is not it's not global. I mean, like there's one like the one we're talking about is I think largely a US thing, but I think the Red first album was like a Europe record store day.
Yeah, there was a Europe record store day thing, yeah. And then the 3 picture ones were I believe for Japan record store day.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Cool. What else? We have... Oh, they did a couple of spots for Spotify. So like little videos of them, whatever, encouraging you to listen to them and on Spotify.
Yes.
Yes, those were great.
It was cute.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It sounds like they are in a giant auditorium. I mean, there's super, super reverby. And so it almost certainly was at Makuhari Messe, before the show that they recorded that while they were dressed up.
Mm-hmm.
Insane in the chat suggested that there was another one for Amazon Music, which I think that is right. I think there were 2. I think there was a Spotify one and an Amazon Music one.
Mm-hmm.
There was.
Yeah, for Amazon Music Japan, yeah.
They did a great one back in when Metal Galaxy was released for Amazon Music, where they
for Alexa
tried to get Alexa to
yes.
Oh yeah,
that one was
excellent.
So cute.
Yeah, and the thing I always thought was the funniest about it is that they seemed both so surprised. Well, Sue seemed very surprised when Alexa succeeded in playing the album, which really makes it seem like this is take 45. And, like Moa's like just sort of like, oh, I have to smile again. Okay.
It seemed real. Yeah.
It was
I like to think that was their 4th spin on a promo. They had recorded all the other ones for the album earlier, and that was the last one before they got to go home. And it took 100 tries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's my headcanon on that one.
Yeah, mine agrees. Yeah. Okay, we have so coming up we have the album release on the 24th, right? We have the 22nd is the album listing, the 24th is the official release.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a chance that it might get mailed out slightly earlier, but at any rate, it'll be right around then. And then Wawa was going to play the Makuhari Messe show on March 25th. So,
yes.
Nice.
That will be the first availability of a pro shot for that. And we have a trailer for that as well. So we have a little bit of a little bit of professional shot video, even outside those MVs that we got. Oh, and I guess we have actually live audio then in those cases too.
Yes.
I should hope so.
So
yeah. One would only hope.
Right. Yeah, no, I was only just thinking that even the songs that we already had the videos for, it's still different because they've got the real audio this time. So it's it's short. It shows a couple of things. I think we know that Monochrome's in there, and there's a few other things, but we don't know, for example, if Doki Doki Morning is in there. Everyone is speculating that'll get cut.
Yeah.
I think that'll get cut for the Blu-ray.
It's always a challenge to try to figure out how to watch this. Because it's actually not very easy to get WoW outside of Japan. And I have tried. So what I used to do, what I did in the past was there was something called 4Joy TV, which before that was called Fuji TV, and it's kind of I would say sort of like a gray market rebroadcaster. It costs money. It's a subscription, and they will send the video to you like a cable provider would. But I'm never quite convinced that it's licensed, and it's always a little bit low band rate it's bandwidth is what I mean. Bit rate? I don't know. It's both. It's low everything.
Not great is what you're saying.
Yeah. It is possible though, if you are a WoW subscriber, you can stream it. Like it is possible to stream WoW. And if you subscribe to it, then you can you can go onto the site, sign in, you can watch various videos of various things, and it works just great, except for WoW Prime Live.
Of course.
Somehow they have exceeded Netflix in their ability to geo-block. It's I have not been able to get around it, and I have tried.
Yeah.
So there are various plans on how this might wind up being achievable anyway, but I think it's largely going to rely on someone in Japan getting it and sending it our way, because it's not possible. I think to actually stream, VPNs don't work. An actual virtual machine sitting in Japan can't get it. I don't understand how that is even possible.
Shocking.
But yeah, very interesting technical details. But I suspect what they're doing is they're blocking by IP address all of the virtual machine companies. So VPN endpoints and virtual machines are blocked from streaming. But
sure.
Anyway, it was quite a procedure to get to test all of this stuff, and it's just not worked. None of it's worked. So, but I'm still hopeful that we will see the WoW broadcast when it happens or soon after.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine not long after that it'll go on sale. So at the very worst, sometime this summer you'll be able to own it.
Mm-hmm. Most likely, because that usually the order of operations is new membership happens, a prior concert happens, and then once April 1st rolls around, oh hey, here's the Blu-ray, this is your first opportunity to use your new membership, go buy it. That's usually what happens.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I expect that. There's always a question with WoW. So usually what happens with WoW is you get maybe something that has a little bit of a different, occasional, very small difference in editing. Usually they'll omit a song or two. But there have been cases, I think the main one that I'm thinking of is Big Fox Festival, where it's actually different. I think in this case it can't be too different because both nights were the same. But at any rate, yeah, I mean it's
mostly the same.
Yeah, right. So it's conceivable that WoW could show something from a night that's not on the Blu-ray, for example.
Because I think typically they try to do their recordings off the Sunday recordings.
Like the second night, you mean?
To put on the Blu-ray, the second nights for the Blu-ray, yeah. Although I have seen where they've taken stuff from both nights, kind of intermingled it. But for the most part, I think they've tried to take their stuff from the Sunday performances. Yeah,
but Big Fox Festival on WoW took stuff from night one, so it's swapped out the Suso and I think it was like DJ for song 4 or something like that. There were 2 swaps in. So in fact, if you have the Blu-ray, you do not have all the songs. I mean, which is kind of crazy, but you have to have both the WoW broadcast and the Blu-ray to have everything from that set of shows.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, because that one, the Blu-ray is the Sunday show. It is the October 14th. No, don't know anymore. It's the 14th or 15th. I can't remember. Let's see, 2017.
I didn't know that it was safe to assume they were always a Saturday and a Sunday, so I always think of it as the second day. But
fair enough. Well, that one was Saturday and Sunday because on Friday was the first time that I saw Bandmade.
I see.
And Oscar. Yeah. No, excuse me. I was incorrect. It is the 15th. October 15th was the Sunday show. 2017, which was so long ago.
Yeah, it does seem surprisingly long ago. In the chat, we have a suggestion that possibly monochrome would be cut from the WoW thing, but I think we sort of know that it isn't cut, or at least if it is cut from the WoW, it's in the promo. So
yeah.
So that would be sort of a weird thing to do. They could, but
yeah, totally up to them.
I would be pretty surprised if they didn't have monochrome. That's I think Doki Doki Morning is a that is a little bit of more of an inside thing. Like if you already know what's going on and you know what's what the meaningfulness of that is, then that's relevant to you. And the Blu-ray audience are going to be the people who care about that stuff, not necessarily the miscellaneous WoW people, right? So I could see Doki Doki Morning going.
Just to play devil's advocate on that, it's not uncommon to have footage that doesn't make the final cut of a movie in a trailer, for example.
True.
I'm not sure. I don't know that would be the same thing here, but it could happen, I guess, is my point.
Yep, I totally agree. Plus, they seem to edit this stuff like all the way up until it's aired, and then a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, as chat member saying is Doki Doki Morning is definitely the Blu-ray seller for sure.
I think so.
I think so. That's that is a really kind of like the one or the other one or whatever we are kind of a thing.
Some other thing.
Yeah. Yet more. Okay, let's see. So we're looking forward to WoW.
Yes.
I'm curious to see in what what gets cut and what doesn't get cut and all that. But it's going to be a very intense kind of week there at the end of March, beginning of April. So. Okay, the other sort of main thing that I had to talk about was just the absolute onslaught of magazine issues that they're in. I mean, like it's just like Metal Galaxy. I mean, it's just like all of the same magazines are putting out cover issues. We've got Kerrang's already out.
Yes.
We could maybe talk about that. I'll just run through them quickly, and then we can maybe go through more individually. But so Kerrang's already out. Nikkei Entertainment's already out. Metal Hammer Japan is coming soon. PMC is coming soon. Young Guitar is coming soon. Rolling Stone Japan's coming soon.
Metal Hammer UK, I think, is already out though, right?
Yeah. Maybe I missed that one. And Hedoban has a special. They have a sort of an alternate series called Spin-Off, and they're in Hedoban Spin-Off 11, which is coming soon. That's kind of nice because the normal Hedobans are small, and Hedoban Spin-Off is like full magazine size too.
Oh, nice.
So
translators are going to be busy.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank your translator.
Thank your translator by giving them money for pizza.
Right.
Yes.
But yeah, so we've seen Kerrang, and that was actually that was in English, as you would expect, and the Nikkei Entertainment issue is out and already translated by Funny Toss. I think that's Metal Hammer UK. We have seen that too, right? or not? I don't think I have. Now that I'm saying that out loud, we've seen the covers.
We've seen the covers, and I think I've only seen like a couple pictures from inside the magazine, but I've not actually seen the article yet.
Same.
When is it due out? Because I think it is. Yes, it is today, or not today. A couple days ago, March 2nd. So it must be in some people's hands.
Yes, that's the one that I'm probably a bit more like curious to read, of anything, because albeit I doubt they say much, but on the cover, if you've not seen the Metal Hammer cover, it is double-sided, which is respectable because, you know, Sabaton and Baby Metal are going on tour with Lordy, yeah.
Lordy,
okay.
It's actually, but it's not actually double-sided though. Just to quickly put that in, it's actually complex. There's two different editions, so
like they're two separate magazines, like completely.
Yeah.
Oh, ooh, that sucks.
It's a little bit scary.
It is a little scary, yeah. Because I assumed that it was like front cover was one, back cover was another. Oh, okay. So I was wrong. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So if you order it too early, if there wasn't a way to distinguish them initially, now they've actually given them individual numbers. So the one we want is number 372. The one we, respect but don't want is called Sabaton, is the issue number. It is Sabaton. So you can either order 372, which has Baby Metal on the cover, or Sabaton, which has Sabaton on the cover. I think the insides are all the same. It's just the cover.
Fair enough.
Right.
But yes. So
okay.
But
go ahead.
But to back to it though, on the front cover, and this is the only time I've really seen it like be very, very obvious, is the front cover says "Backstage in Tokyo, Baby Metal, new album, new show, new member?" ? So like this is the first time that someone has like very obviously be like, hey, something's going on potentially. So not that I think they can say much of anything, although I think the Nikkei might have touched on it a little bit. And of course it's only the Fox God knows thing, but I figured it might be the same way with the Metal Hammer, but I don't know. But I'm still curious to see what is said about that, because that's pretty big thing, especially for a big magazine like that, to, what do they say, put on blast. So I would like to actually read that one if possible, but we'll have to see. I didn't order it, and I should have, but I have so many magazines already. I don't need more. Although, from what I understand, if you have an iPhone and you have the Metal Hammer app, I don't know if this is specific for the UK or not, but there's a Metal Hammer app, and you can buy the magazine through the app and have a digital version of it, I think. If I am incorrect, please let me know. But I did read that somewhere.
That would definitely be better than scanning. But
be better than, yes. It would be better than having to order it and wait for it, and yeah.
Oh, but then what do you put? You just put your phone on your bookshelf?
No. Like I said, there's just so many magazines anymore. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
I just let it be. Unless it has some really cool poster in it, then I might consider it. But just to have it, I just can't do that anymore.
It becomes difficult to keep the faith on that as these avalanches come. But so far I have. But yeah. So Metal Hammer UK. So Louder Sound is basically the same organization, loudersound.com. I don't know who is what. I mean, I think maybe Louder Sound encompasses Metal Hammer, or maybe Metal Hammer has the Louder Sound website. But they also had a here are the 20 greatest baby metal songs ever, as voted by you, article recently as well. So they're all in as usual.
I have seen the list. I don't know. I'm very much one of those fans. It's like, I have my own top 20. I don't need it to be reaffirmed by anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Though I think, the main thing I was thinking was somewhat interesting about this is that Monochrome made it to number 4. 2023 song made it all the way to
that's pretty
the
interesting.
4th spot. So, and that's, Metal Kingdom is 6 ahead of Karate Syncopation. So Divine Attack is 10, but the interesting thing is that Nakatsuki is number 1, but the I'm interested in the fact that the other one songs have, the few that we have made it, have broken the top 10 like that. Possibly because they're new. I mean, there's that as well, but Metal Hammer has a Japan arm as well, fairly recently established. They're on volume 13, and Baby Metal's on the cover of that as well. So
I thought I hadn't really seen that magazine before. A specific Metal Hammer Japan, like
they just started like last year or the year before. Like they're relatively new.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Baby Metal was on cover number 1.
I think they were on the first. I think they were on the first cover.
They have not been around long enough for me to associate them with anything other than where they come from.
Yeah, but so what's interesting about that one is that it comes with a double-sided poster.
There you go, Maggie.
I know.
Not only that, it's huge. I mean, so it's it looks. They posted a tweet, a photo of it, and it's all blurred out. It's very funny. You don't actually get to see what the contents of the poster are, but you can kind of maybe see. You can maybe get a little bit of an idea of what the costumes are, but they look a little potentially different, and that may be why they blurred it out. But it's also like it's 4 times as big as the magazine. It's folded twice at least, and it's double-sided, so you have to get 2.
Yeah, as a reference for the powerful size, I took a picture with volume 4 of this magazine, much bigger than the last poster. The image is a print sample and will be cut and folded vertically and horizontally from here. Sewing is also possible, so it's easy to remove. This process is quite expensive.
Yep. So that's pretty cool. But if you want to put both up, then you need 2 copies. This is due out March 13th.
Although I'm putting the tinfoil hat on.
Oh, here we go.
I know the sleeves look the same. As far as like the arm lace that they've been wearing, the long sleeve arm lace. But yeah, it might actually be an entirely new outfit because Moa's sleeve, the shoulders are puffed instead of pointed, and Moa's sleeve is just way like it's fluffy. And then Sue doesn't really have one. They're obviously doing fox signs, I think, or it looks like they are. But I don't know. I might, might get this.
It kind of looks like the shoulders are less wide too.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm. Once again, tinfoil hat. I think that's part of it. I
just think the blur effect is kind of cool.
Yeah,
that is true. That is really neat. It is pretty cool.
It's a cool mosaic.
I think it's usually the case. I haven't checked, but Osmart usually will sell these. If you can't figure out any other place to get it, you can order it on Osmart. I don't usually do that. I usually use what do I use? Newsstand.co.uk for most of these. For Metal Hammer Japan, Amazon works. Amazon code JP.
Another thing that I've just noticed, I'm scrolling into the picture a bit more, and there is a bit that's not taken away, which is how I could tell the sleeves were different. But Sue's outfit looks like a bit of the gold 10 Baby Metal Years outfit. So I don't know. But then I look at Moa's, and Moa's looks a little bit different. So I'm not sure.
Hot take. They're identical.
Yeah.
It's nothing new.
Could be.
Maybe. Yeah.
If you're looking at it close up, go look at the top of Sue's head. You can see that at least the hair thing is the same.
The hair pieces is spiky. Yeah. Yeah. They are.
And actually, now that I'm looking at this, I bet you could undo this mosaic. I think all the information in this image is still there. Because if you look at her face, you can see a bunch of little copies of her face.
That's true. Yeah, I just noticed that.
That would be some pretty next level dedication to sitting down.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not. I mean, they didn't do a particularly good job of actually removing the information. I mean, they could have blurred it and made it impossible, but they didn't.
I suppose.
I don't know. This is interesting. Although, like I said, it's I don't know which way it could go, but I guess we'll see.
We have a timeline of all these things. So March 10th, we have Young Guitar and PMC. March 13th, Metal Hammer Japan. March 25th, Rolling Stone Japan. But one issue about all of those is that they are all in March. They are all pre Fox Day. So
True. So yeah.
They're not going to reflect what happens on Fox Day.
True.
Hedabon put this in their spin-off series, the spin-off 11. And it's quite possible that the next Hedabon, the real one, the next in the main series, will be them, but about the whatever changes there were. It's possible. The speculation was that Hedabon didn't want to put them on the cover 2 issues in a row. But so they put one in the spinoff and one in the regular. But I'm sure there's going to be another pile of these. Another 3 Young Guitars to get, and another PMC, and
probably
more Hedo's Bon. There is, what is it? PMC Volume 27 on March 10th. They're on the cover of that, holding their forks.
As you do.
Some cool,
yeah.
Some cool forks, though.
Yeah. They're in Young Guitar. The Young Guitar one actually looks quite impressive. Over 100 pages, they claim, of Baby Metal content. So they're on the front cover holding guitars instead of forks. And there's a long interview with Sue Metal, with Mo Metal, I guess together, and then one with Koba Metal. There's Isao doing playing analysis. There's a score for Divine Attack and Monochrome. There's a gear review and an album review. So it's it's intense.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and they're sitting on a throne of guitars instead, and it's actually the Metal Galaxy guitar that they released back in the day.
Oh, is it? Yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah,
okay.
It is. Yep, I just took a look at it. It's that it has the swirly galaxy in the middle, and it has all the stars on the side of it.
Nice. So yeah, that one's going to be good, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a 9. Is it? I'm not very knowledgeable about guitars, but that's like their special 7 or 9 string guitar or something. I can't remember.
But I guess you can just count the
that's
pegs, right?
1, 2, 3,
Looks
4,
like 9.
5. Okay, yeah. So I was right. It's
Gotta hear Paul.
Yeah. And Young Guitar in the past they keep feeding out issues. So I expect there are going to be 2 or 3 more with more scores from the album. But I think for the most part, this one looks like it's the main one, the big one. Rolling Stone Japan. It actually has Baby Metal on the cover, and it says Mirror Mirror. So that's interesting. That's March 25th. They're on the back cover, though, on this one.
It's still pretty cool.
Not that it matters, but yeah. And what else? The Hedabon spinoff, they're on the back cover of that, too, actually. So the front is Love Bites for Hedabon spinoff, and the front is The Last Rock Stars for Rolling Stone Japan. Mm-hmm. It was pretty funny. They kind of sold the spinoff 11 as being, the Hedabon spinoff as being having 2 covers, but really, they're on the back cover. I mean, they're on the back cover with the barcodes and all the other stuff, that is normally on the back cover. So anyway, it's a lot. It'll be interesting to see what they say in all of those. And we look forward to appreciating greatly our translators.
Yes, always.
Absolutely.
Buy your translator a pizza.
Speaking of that, we have, the first thing that we have a translation of is a pretty strange magazine. Actually, at least I was surprised it wasn't in the rotation of magazines I think about, called Nikkei Entertainment. And I don't really even know what the subject matter of that is. It's probably just a general entertainment magazine. But they had on the cover, they had a little thing that said, Baby Metal. It really didn't look like it was much. Didn't seem like it was going to be a very large proportion of the magazine. But it turned out to be actually a fairly elaborate interview. I think it may still only be a couple of pages, but there's a lot in there. So Funny Toss has translated that, and we encourage everybody to go read it. But anyone, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, they said it's kind of just it was just a bit of a side stories kind of album, so they were able to explore as Baby Metal does in other possibilities.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sue had mentioned which is where I got the kind of dark terminology from. Sue had said there's not been an album where there's been such a dark collection of songs put together, which I agree. They mentioned what their favorite songs were, and of course, as per Baby Metal norm, there are some songs that actually have been recorded not recently. Which
Yeah,
I
that
think
was my big takeaway.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the most the interesting things here was the age of Monochrome.
Yeah, Monochrome has been out
and Believing
for
was even older.
Yeah, Believing and Monochrome both have been within the 4 to 5 year development, essentially. Which I know that I think it was Believing that they had said that there's some audio from way back when mashed with stuff from, or is Time Warp? It might have been Time Warp that they said that there was audio from like the past and the current, and everything's kind of mixed in together. Oh, which would be cool. And that also, makes sense with it being called Time Warp. Your Time Wave, not Time Warp. Oh, Lord. I think my energy's kind of like, now it's, brain went down way. Anywho,
It's okay.
although Monochrome, I guess, like they thought was a little bit more on the lighter side of things, but everyone, of course, once again, had kind of interpreted it to be very sad and very powerful. And she's like, oh, that wasn't the interpretation we were really going for, but if I guess it kind of just depends on how you're feeling at the time. So, she acknowledges that it, depending on how you're feeling at the time, may depend on how you feel about whatever song you're listening to, which is kind of typical. Moa has made note that she would like to try her hand at writing, although she doesn't think that she kind of feels like her limits her to being about song 4 level, which was cute.
Mm-hmm. I would take another one of those.
Yeah, I would too.
Still waiting for song 5.
Yes, indeed. I do actually have to read one word for word, one bit word for word, because there was a bit that Moa had said that I just was like, oh, this is really cool and kind of powerful. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, here we go. We really do live through our concerts. Since we make very few media appearances, concerts are the only place where we directly convey our feelings, which is true. I believe it's essential for us to do so through our shows. Nowadays, AI can do a lot of things, and with the evolution of social media, there is a lot of fake news and other complications. That is why something you can see for yourself in real life is so important, and I think the value of such shows will increase dramatically in the future. I like to make the most out of every opportunity to perform live. It kind of was just like, yeah, that's true. It's very, very true. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a very powerful quote from Moa. Go, girl. And then, so she had said that. And they also made note that, the first show of this year, the January show, was like the opening part of their restoration process. And that the PAMM concert may be the conclusion of the restoration process, and that it will take 2 days to complete it. So please come to both.
Yeah.
So that's
good marketing.
I eyebrow wiggle. Pretty cool.
Probably what it really means is don't miss day 2. If you're going to come to just one day, make it be day 2.
It's true.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking, with that stuff about Monochrome and Sue sort of interpreting it as sort of less deep than it sort of came to be viewed as in the like once the video came along with it and that sort of thing, once it was released. For some of that stuff, so not for Divine Attack, but for Monochrome, in a sense, she's interpreting it just like we are, right? I mean, like she doesn't have an advantage over anyone else, she also maybe not interpreting it the way it was written, right? So like it's not that she didn't write it, you know, she didn't have an intent herself. She's also kind of reflecting or interpreting someone else's intent. Mm-hmm. Like she talked about this a little bit with Starlight, I guess, that her understanding of it kind of evolved from being sort of like a lonely song to one that's more connected. Not in this article, but at some point when she was talking about Starlight.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was forever ago.
Yeah. She did say something that was a little bit along the lines of, you know, if you listen again from a fresh angle, you might see something different in this song. Mm-hmm. And there was a little bit of discussion of her writing the lyrics for Divine Attack too. That was, you know, that Moa said she was proud of Sue, and that was where Moa came up with this belief that you know, she probably peaked at song 4, but then there was actually a kind of a funny, you know, she says, if the Fox God chooses me, I'd like to try to write something again, and it does feel like that's kind of like, come on, give me a chance. You know, they keep saying no.
Yeah, I don't know. She's always kind of leaned into the lore in a way that's kind of uniquely her style. Mm-hmm. So I read that more honestly as foreshadowing or something she wants to do, not that she misses doing or needs permission to do.
But the other thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about this earlier was that I could just see her like not being able to help putting jokes in every third line. You know, it might be a different sort of feel to it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Anything else that I wanted to say on here? The fact that we have these old songs making appearances. I mean, you know, it's mind-boggling that monochrome. You know, they claim monochrome has been around for 4 or 5 years, and in fact, it says monochrome was also recorded a while back, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So that suggests. I mean, like, I suspect the vocals may be more recent than that, but quite possibly a lot of that instrumental stuff is that old.
Mm-hmm.
So we've heard similar things about Night Night Burn, you know, that it was Megitsune era. But I think what that means is essentially like they were playing around with this idea all the way up until 4 months before Metal Galaxy came out, and then they recorded it. You know, it's not like they finished it and then just sat on it, because clearly, you know, it's not kid voices and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I think we knew that they added the kind of Latin element late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a recent twist.
Still, it does mean monochrome was out there available when they were assembling Metal Galaxy in some way, and it was not, you know, that wasn't sort of part of that process. So
it wouldn't have been a bad add to that album, I don't think.
I think it fits in pretty well with what we're getting from the other one. I could almost see that maybe that's like the thing that they're building the other one around. You know, they had that and they thought, let's do a whole album that kind of fits with this.
Possibly, yeah.
I think we'll never know, but I guess it does you know, lend even more support to the idea that there may well be a bunch of stuff that's sitting there, you know, 90% done and ready to go.
Yeah, how wild is that? That was the most shocking part of this interview for me.
Yeah.
And it's still shocking, and it's not the first time we've heard stuff like this. Like, I would love a tour of the shelf where all of this stuff lives and has lived for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably fairly common for any band to, like, you know, play around with ideas that never quite make it out. Oh,
absolutely.
I guess, like, it's not necessarily like it might well be that they were right to say, like, this is less good than the things that went on the album. So we left it out intentionally, but or it needs, you know, more time to be worked on or something like that. But it does seem like the things that we hear that finally do make it on albums were good. You know, they wind up being good. They don't wind up being like B-sides. So
right.
Is there such a thing as a B-side anymore? I mean, there are no sides, right? It's just like an iTunes, you know, purchase.
I mean, if you buy the vinyl.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's about it.
I was quite impressed with this interview. I was not expecting it to be anything but just like, you know, they played a show, you know, good for them. And it turned out to be actually with some content, and it's pretty conversational and like you feel like you're learning something when you read it.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Mm-hmm.
And it was turned around super quick. I mean, like the issue came out, and like a day later we had the translation.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a heroic effort.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Funny Toss. All right, I think I'm sort of flipping through the notes I made, and I don't see anything that we didn't talk about that I skipped over.
I don't think there's much else right now other than we just kind of wait for the fifth song to be released, and then album day.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody getting their shipments in from A-Smart.
Album day will be exciting.
It will be.
Yeah.
Very much so. I'm excited.
I think this is pretty cool that it's actually, I mean, all of the stuff is piled together. I mean, so we have album day, but album day is like Fox Day Eve and concert Eve too. I mean, like it's, I don't, I mean, I guess the concerts aren't usually Fox Day. I don't think. I mean, usually, what does that mean? There haven't been that many Fox days, but.
You mean a concert on Fox Day or a concert announced on Fox Day? I think there's only been the two. That was Wembley was on Fox Day, which is when Fox Day really started. And then, this one. So I don't think there's been any other ones.
But yeah, so I made a little list of things that I think are coming up. And we have Fox Day on April 1st. Baby Metal begins April 1st and 2nd. We have somewhere in March, we have the fifth song. We have, all these magazines. We have the listening on March 22nd, release date of the album March 24th, Wow on March 25th. April 14th, the Sabaton tour begins.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is quick. I mean, that's 2 weeks from Fox Day. So, April 2nd, almost everybody is thinking they're gonna add a third member based on the iconography that came out of the Makuhari Messi show. I don't know if we want to talk about that. I mean, I don't know if it makes sense to talk about that. It sort of feels like either we've talked about it or that the options are obvious, or maybe the option is obvious.
I think we've said all we need to say in multiple places.
Pretty much.
And now it's just kind of wait and see what happens.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's really only three options, but still.
Yeah, and of those three options, only one is actually an option. So,
I mean, yes. Well, I don't mean three options. We'll jump into it. You can either have option A, which would be, hey, Momoko is going to be the new member. 2, some random other person we don't know is going to, or at some point in time may have known if you are into the Japanese world, is going to be a new member. Or 3, they're just going to do some rando thing. There's your three options.
So option 3 would include just continuing with the adventures.
Essentially.
Yeah. It would be surprising to me if it were anything but option 1. No, sorry, option A. I think it went A, 2, 3, right?
Maybe. I don't know anymore.
I mean, at this point, I do sort of feel like we're close enough that it almost doesn't matter what we guess.
True.
We're going to know.
What happens. And people will probably, I'm sure with most of these magazines, someone has there's got to be an inside knowledge of something somewhere that somebody here around knows something already. So it's like,
there's already articles written that are waiting to be announced.
Exactly.
April 3rd, I'm sure.
Exactly. Or even on the 2nd.
I think Metal Hammer UK, one of the things I didn't mention when we were talking about that, but it's clear that they have, they have listened to and are sort of in a sense reviewing the album. I mean, they've got the whole thing. They talk about how it all fits together. They don't reveal anything in particular about anything we don't already know about, but they have the album, and I assume everybody else, all the other media outlets do, and it wouldn't be surprising that some of them know, but they're not going to tell us. I mean, they'll be ready to go as soon as it's public, but we're not going to get a leak from them.
Exactly. Oh God, no. Oh, they'd be fired. Speaking of, although they're not fired, but speaking of, and this is just a random tidbit, but Graham, who has been an avid Baby Metal fan for years and has interviewed them for a lot, is now no longer working with think it's Loudwire or Metal Hammer or one of the two, one of those big European magazines. He's no longer working with them anymore, which is sad. I saw that on Twitter the other day.
Time for new blood.
Yeah.
New career path for the guy.
Mm-hmm. Possibly. That'd be cool.
He did very good interviews. Like, he somehow managed to negotiate the interviews well so that he got things out of them. They were comfortable with him. And so...
oh, yeah. His interviews with Baby Metal was always very nice and just, very calming, kind of gentle, and they seemed comfortable. And
his name is Graham Hartman.
Yeah.
From Loudwire. Yeah.
It was Loudwire. Okay.
Yeah. There will be more interviews. And in fact, actually,
yes.
It matters a little less now that everybody's grown up, that it's, I think they can probably manage to conduct an interview well, even with a bad interviewer. So maybe he'll just like go to shows then. We'll see him there.
Maybe. It'd be cool. He's a good guy. He's been through a lot, but he's a good guy.
What else should we talk about? Anything else?
Well, that's it on my end, I think.
No, I think now we wait.
Yes.
Yeah, now we wait.
Just waiting game for almost exactly a month.
Yeah. Well, like 3 weeks from today is when we're there, right? I mean, like,
well, true.
3 weeks from today is
the
the
album
25th.
will come first. Album come first, then concert.
Yeah. So I suspect that we'll wind up recording somewhere in there between album and concert, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we can contain our thoughts until the concerts are over. We'll see. But
I'll be just a nervous ball of nerves, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out in the podcast room and for recording with me. And
yes,
this has been good. And that is it for this episode. Join us on the Baby Metal Podcast Discord to continue the conversation. Rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help people find it, so please do that. We'll be back here in maybe 3 weeks, something like that. We hope you'll join us then. And until then, see you.
See you.